Hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us for the world premiere of Diamonds into Dust. My name is Nick Solidio, and I am thrilled to be hosting this event. Now, among all the craziness that was the year 2020, Zopa, which is comprised of Michael Imperioli on guitar and lead vocals, Olmo Tighe on drums and vocals, and Elijah Amitin on bass, keyboard, and vocals, released their album La Dolce Vita. The album is produced by Elijah Amitin and recorded at the Bunker in Brooklyn, New York. Diamonds into Dust, the album's second track, specifically caught the ears of filmmaker James Price, who created the music video we are soon going to experience right here together. Now, we'll be together for the next hour. And after we share the music video with you all, James Price and Michael Imperioli will join us on screen to discuss that process and the artistic direction of the film. Then the rest of the band, Zopa, will join us for a full-on question and answer segment driven by all of you. In the meantime, I'd like to bring up the band to the virtual stage to speak to their music, the album La Dolce Vita, and their plans for the future. So, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Zopa, Michael Imperioli, Elijah Amitin, and Olmo Tighe. Hello, everyone. So thank you both. Thank you all so much for joining. I just have a few questions that I'd love to ask. If could one of you tell us how did Zopa come to be? How did you all find each other?
Well, Olmo and I met how many years ago? You were 8 years old, I guess.
Yeah. 8 years old.
That was like 30 years ago. About
38. Yeah.
We were in a movie together, and Olmo's brother and I played friends in the movie. And fast forward about 22 years, and maybe no less. Yeah, fast forward about 20 years, and I wanted to put a band together, and I ran into Olmo's brother, and he told me that he was playing the drums. And for some reason, I figured I had to look up Olmo. I didn't know what kind of music he was playing or what kind of drummer, but sometimes intuition takes over, you know? So I started going to the Strand where I knew he was working, the bookstore in New York. And after a few attempts, we made contact. And then Olmo said, well, I know a bass player who Olmo and Elijah have been friends and have played together before. And then I wound up running into Elijah the day before we were going to meet at the flea market, because Elijah's father and my wife knew each other from kind of the flea market world in New York. And it turned out that I had once been managed by Elijah's cousin. So there was a lot of strange mojo. And that was 2006.
Okay, and what was the inspiration for the album, for La Dolce Vita?
Oh, one of you gents want to answer that, maybe.
Well, that used to be the name of the group, and then once Michael got further and further into the Tibetan Buddhism and the meditation, we switched the name, and it became the name of the album instead. Right. And I think a lot of the songs were like, or at least 3 are 30 years old, at least, right? Like some of the tracks.
Actually on this record, Roll It Off Your Skin is the only one that's from the late 80s, at least lyrically, a little bit, and the basic chords. I mean, the songs really don't really happen until we play them together, as far as I'm concerned. But everything else we wrote in this, our time together. And we decided we want to make an album, and Elijah was took over the producing end of that.
Yeah. The first time we played together, he came in and he was just facing the wall, and I was like, all right, just turn towards me a little bit so I can see what you're doing. And from then it's kind of been that. Facing each other during practice.
I was very, very, very nervous. And well, the funny thing was we played for like 2 months, and we worked on a bunch of songs, and then I went to Portugal to do a movie. And at the end of the movie, a friend of mine had a club, so he invited us to play our first concert. Now, we had been practicing maybe for 2 months. Olmo and Elijah fly over and meet me, and 500 people show up at the first concert, and I had never sang in public, and we had never played together. And it was one of those moments when you realize you've taken on a bit more than you probably can chew, but we got through it, though.
That's real. So your first show of all shows happened to be in Portugal.
In Lisbon, yeah.
Wow. And did you all end up going on like a tour once you were more comfortable in the US, or is that something that you're planning to do in the future?
Both. I mean, we did a lot of clubs in New York, and then we did an East Coast tour with Patty Rothberg and her band at one point, and eventually, when people are touring again, we do have a show in Seattle, which we've never played in Seattle, in November at the Freak Out Festival, November 13th, I believe.
Very cool. That's awesome. So now that, Michael, now that you're back in New York, are you guys getting together a lot, putting together new music or focusing on the music that you already have written? What's your kind of regiment like now that you're all together in the same state again?
Well, you just did a live stream for that we recorded Battery Electric. We did 2 songs for Coney Island benefit, benefiting Coney Island, USA. So that was a good way to get back into the groove, and we just focused on 2 songs for about a month.
Mm-hmm.
And we have our first show. It's not announced yet, but I'll kind of pre-announce it here, but keep it to yourselves for now because it's not officially announced, but it's going to be August 14th at the Mercury Lounge in New York City. So now we're just preparing for that.
Very cool. How big is that venue? Like how many people could fit in there?
What would you say?
100?
200?
300 maybe?
Yeah, 250. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Fantastic.
It's a really good venue. It's got great sound. It's kind of where a lot of the bands in like the early 2000s, like the Strokes and Yeah, like they kind of play. I think the Strokes had a residency there for a while, and
Wow.
I saw the Yeah there back before they kind of exploded. It's a good, really good New York rock club.
Very cool. That's awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about Diamonds into Dust specifically and what inspired that song?
It's not one of the things I want to reveal what it's about, but I would like to ask Olmo and Elijah what they think it's about for them, or what inspires them.
I mean, I think it's I think a lot of your songs are about redemption in some way, and it's a mystery, like exactly the circumstances surrounding it. But I think the quest for like the spirituality and redemption is very strong in you. So I think most of your songs are about that.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Yeah,
that's pretty accurate.
That's a better answer than I would.
What's your answer?
Yeah, it always seemed like some kind of journey that these characters are going through, and breaking through some kind of some hardship.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah.
Often, like the chorus and the verse and the bridge sometimes are not the same story. Sometimes they just work together. As components just put together. Some sonically or lyrically. But yeah, what both of you said is pretty true in the inception of it. And then there's the chorus really though is from a photograph I saw.
That's cool.
of a tombstone.
Yeah, you were telling us that.
Yeah, that's really the chorus. So the chorus is not exactly the same inspiration as the verses, but somehow it works together.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. We're going to do like a full-on question and answer from the crowd later on, but I was just glancing, and there's a great one here from Keith Norris. Did you set any goals while writing that album?
Elijah maybe is a good one for that question.
Goals, well, really just to get an album out. That's really it. No, like kind of aesthetically, let's say, my goal was to get the sound of the record to sound like somewhere in like let's say like one of the British studios in the late 70s. So to get that sound, kind of somewhere between like a Bowie and a Lou Reed record, somewhere in that ballpark. And for me, that meant like all of us playing together in the same room and minimal overdubs and cutting to tape. So it was an all analog session. And I think we really hit it. And actually on vinyl, it sounds like how it really should, in my opinion. And in fact, I have a little reveal for you all, which is that they just came in, so we have the first batch here. Yeah.
Oh, it looks good, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
I just pre-ordered mine as well. For those of you watching, you can get your Zopa vinyl and T-shirts at mountcrushmorerecords.com, and I'll mention that again throughout this premiere. I have another question from the Q&A tab. What music were you all listening to while you were recording this album?
Good question. I don't know. I don't really remember specifically because we actually recorded it a number of years ago, but we share a lot of musical interests, but we also have, we've also turned each other on to our own personal things that maybe each other wouldn't know, but I don't remember specifically. What about you guys?
You were playing a lot of Galaxy 500. I remember that.
Yeah.
That time.
Well, that was a big influence, for me, because I saw the band when they were playing in the CBGBs and the Knitting Factory, and as a trio, they managed to get a really big sound, and it's really because of the individuality and distinctiveness of the musicians themselves. You know what I mean? It's not you just have a guitar player who was the singer, Dean Wareham, and then Naomi Yang and Damon, I always mess up his last name, playing the drums, but it's not a rhythm section backing up a guy who's singing and playing guitar, which sometimes you have in bands. It's a trio that works. Each musician is bringing a very distinct, big, powerful component, and you can't separate them. Each component informs the song and the sound in a very big way. And I don't even think I brought that up in the beginning when we started playing, but somehow naturally you guys had brought kind of what I was hoping for. I don't know how that happened, I don't know how any of it happened because it was so weird, but both of you are very distinctive, very dynamic, very powerful, very musical, melodic, and it that's how we write the songs. The songs are written by all of us, even though if one person might be writing the lyrics, but a lot of them were written in practice. One of us would come in with an idea. This one song, Stanley, that's not on the album, was started with a drum beat. Remember, you were doing this drum beat. I was like, what do you call that beat? And you said Stanley. And then this song came out. You wrote some of the verses and I wrote a chorus, and that was the song,
Yeah.
When Olmo and I started playing together in high school, we had no idea what we were doing, and I don't think either of us really had a lesson, so we were just playing.
Not too many.
So we were just playing whatever without any kind of structure whatsoever. So I think that probably kind of informed our approach to being in a band, which is just to go out and then somehow coalesce.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, despite not having formal training, you played a lot, so you knew your instruments, even though you came at it in a very, you know, in an organic, individual kind of way, just you know, kind of idiosyncratic way. That's
Yeah.
what's the beauty of it is, you know.
Yeah.
Would you say that this album ranks high on Zopa's list of accomplishments? Like, is it the biggest accomplishment you had? Were there others that made you feel, you know, even more together as a unit?
Definitely a huge accomplishment. I mean, you know, making a full length record like that it's hard. You know, there's a lot that goes into it. And it's just great to actually like hold something physical like this, you know. Yeah, I think it's kind of amazing.
Elijah, was this the first album that you produced?
I've produced other things with some of my bands, yeah. So it wasn't the first album I produced, but it was definitely the most like intensive thing. Yeah, because it was just way more songs than I've worked on before. I've worked on like EPs mostly, and co-produced with other people. Yeah, but like
Well,
we had horns on this on a couple tracks and some keyboard stuff. So I mean, it wasn't that much overdubbing, but there were a few sessions that, you know, took some planning out and stuff.
That's awesome. It's a great album. We're all here because we love
Thank
it.
you.
So we've got a lot of
you
people
so
that
much.
dialed in from all over the world for it. So that's
Thank you, man.
great. And regarding the music video that we're soon going to watch, what excites you all about the release of this music video, Diamonds into Dust?
It's our first video, and the way it came about, you know, so unexpectedly, you know, to have a filmmaker on a different continent, you know, be inspired by the song,
Yeah.
and want to commit so intensely and deeply with his own work and his passion and his own collaborators, just out of, you know, inspiration and love. That's huge. You know what I mean? And I, you know, this has been a year in quarantine, but also in social media and stuff, where meeting with and working with and collaborating with people that I've never met physically, like you, Nick. I mean, we work on other projects together, and now with James, it's kind of, I think it's very encouraging, you know, for the future. Like, I mean, it doesn't replace like playing live together as a band and things like that, but to be able to connect this way with people, you know, in different parts of the world, like artistically, is kind of miraculous.
It absolutely is. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So with that, we're all really excited to hear and see more from Zopa, but it is time to finally share with everyone this amazing work of art. So everybody sit back, relax, and enjoy Diamonds into Dust, directed by James Price.
Hey?
Who's that?
It's safe, it's fine.
Happening, boys, you got company,
Alright,
man.
how you going? Boss man.
Boys,
Alright.
There's a wee man face.
it's from me. Yeah, good, yeah.
Who's this? Yeah, see?
Chip dolls, mate.
It's just a
Oh,
friend.
alright, yeah. Oh, yeah, fucking
Well, it's
sit
good.
down.
Oh, good.
Stand there, pal. Right. Get your hands out your fucking pockets. Did I know you for something?
What's your name, wee man?
It's not an accusation, mate. It's a question, alright?
You did comfortable, weren't you? Huh?
You've not got after a good start, have we?
So what you want, man? What is it you actually want? One what?
£1.
Aye. You got dough on you? Aye.
I know your face.
You get to be chipped to those Campbell money.
No, I'm not feeling.
Nah, you don't run up a bill, no?
No.
I've heard about a wee chipped to running about making bad decisions, mate.
Guys, he's fine. Leave him alone.
Aye.
Yeah, he's fucking fine.
Fine.
I told you.
You
he's
good?
fine.
You
It's
vote for it?
alright.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Seriously? Aye.
Aye, she vouches for him, that means it's alright, I mean, one chipped to vouches for another. Do we let chipped in your voice?
fuck.
Yeah, why don't you stall up off my fucking couch, prick? Who said you could sit down? Get up off my fucking couch!
You're fucking
Dick!
comfortable, aren't you? Aye. Think we're fucking idiots here.
Shannon?
What you want and why are you bringing fucking screws in my
He's
car?
fine. He's fucking fine.
Take your fucking hands out of your pocket.
Ah, see where they annoy you for.
Fuck up. Babe, get out your money, please.
Right, what else, man?
One, come on.
What? Don't click your fucking fingers at me, chipped up!
One,
Don't
lad.
fucking
Click
click
your
your
fucking
fingers!
fingers. Did you just click your fucking fingers then?
Fucking yeah.
He's not fucking.
I
He's
swear
fine.
to fuck, get him
I'm
out here
vouching
before
for
I
him, you
know.
I'm
know.
trying to get up here, mate. Here. Come on, chipped up, boy. Chipped up, say please.
Fucking batter your bum.
Say fucking please, dickhead!
Say fucking please.
Pretty please.
What's fucking wrong,
You
mate?
fuck up, cow. What? With a cherry on top?
He's a cherry on top.
Aha!
You fucking dick.
Fuck up.
Don't bring back fucking guys like that.
Don't bring fucking screws in my car.
Fucking out, you dick.
Thank you kindly.
Hey, get the fuck.
Let yourselves out.
Cancel that.
Fucking.
All their hope was gone until they found your grace in the skies over Omaha. Light shone on their face, always waiting for some sign or a display of might. Always knew that someday, somewhere, you would make the day from the night. Till I find your grace, it worked like a charm before. I stand and knock outside your door. Oh no, you never did nothing wrong. Pure, clean like the day is long. She trampled hollow ground and turned away from grace. No matter lost nor found, all even wind show no place. What always looks like diamonds ends up being dust. What always seems like maybe ends up being just what I must. Till I find your grace, you work like a charm before. I stand and knock outside your door. No, you never did nothing wrong. Pure, clean like the day is long. I would like to know you better after I get through with you. You'll be torn to tiny pieces. Oh, their hope was gone until they found your grace in the skies over Omaha. That light shone on their face, and always waiting for some sign or display of might. The ropes that bind are only ropes of sand. No, no, you never did nothing wrong. No, no, you never did nothing wrong.
Incredible. Honestly, just incredible. This is so cool. Again, for all of you who have questions, again, just please feel free to enter them in the Q&A tab, because it is time to bring out the director that made this happen, James Price, and with him, please welcome Michael Imperioli. James and Michael, feel free to join us. All right, we got the whole crew. I love it. I love it. James, that was so cool. I mean, just phenomenal. Your work is incredible. Can you tell us a bit about how this video came to be, how this short film came about?
Yeah, man. Well, I suppose I should start at the beginning. It was like I was really hungover one morning, and I DM'd Michael on Instagram, and I think I picked 3 songs that I really enjoyed from the album, and I think at first Michael was apprehensive, and I persuaded him, and he chose Diamonds Into Dust, and yeah, let me go wild on it.
That's fantastic. And so where did the idea for this film in general come from? Like for the artistic direction of the film, where did that come from?
Initially, I pitched Michael, Elijah, and Olmo something a bit different, and Elijah actually said like one of the main things the song should be about hope, and that kind of just sparked a bunch of kind of images in my head, and yeah, so it's kind of like I just had all these, yes, certain things just kept popping into my mind every time I listened to the song, and it kept evolving and changing, and yeah, eventually became what you guys saw. I think it's like my fantasy relationship ended up on the screen somewhere. Yeah.
Amazing. And Michael, feel free to chime in with any questions that you might have regarding the film and the artistic choices, stuff like that.
Well, it was Instagram, you get a direct message. It's at first you have to kind of somehow, it's hard to vet those things, right? So I didn't know James, and he was very interested, and he expressed his interest very clearly. But what I've tried to do communicate with a lot of people I never met before in this last year and a half, and social media and all these things. You try to somehow discern something that's pure of heart, and if you can, to trust that. And after we went back and forth a little bit, that's what I got from him, and a lot of passion besides that, and inspiration. But there was something, that spoke to me in his communication, and seeing it just now, as I've seen it a couple of times, but to be able to make something hopeful out of such dark, and desperate circumstances is pretty amazing, James. And you certainly the song, what the narrative of the song is not what we wrote about or what I was writing about lyrically or anything, but somehow it was very, very moving watching it just now, and knowing what it meant to you and your team and your collaborators, and You know, I think from that initial DM that you sent me to today, it's, you know, the fruition of something. You know, something came to fruition. That's really cool. I'm really happy.
No, thank you so much, man. I can't thank you enough. I mean, genuinely, like, yeah, something like that. I lost my dad last year, and I think that's probably, I was really close to my dad, and I think I was in quite a dark place when I initially messaged to Michael, and yeah, and just, yeah, I can't believe it, honestly. Just, it's such a beautiful thing, and yeah, I just, all the appreciation in the world to you, man. I can't thank you enough. It's awesome.
Same here, my friend.
Thank you
No
so
doubt.
much.
And the team, you know, so a lot of these people you have worked with before, right? On
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, man, yeah. Close friends, yeah, man. So I've got Josh Kelly's my producer here.
Hi, Michael.
Got my
Hi.
editor, Tim here. I'm pretty sure Amy who's starting it is tuning in right now. I'm sure
Yes.
a lot of people who watched are tuned in.
Yeah. That and they obviously get behind what you're doing, and it's and you the same. You feel that connection with them, and it's like your own band, right?
Yeah,
Basically.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, it shows that kind of spirit really comes through in it, you know. And it's there's also a very authentic quality to the film, and real, you know, the world that you create there is very believable, 100%, you know.
No, thank you so much, man. That means the world. Thank you so much.
And I see, James, so you had a role in the film. What was that experience like, being the director and also acting in it?
Yeah, it was awesome, man. Like, to be honest, I genuinely don't know what gave me the bravery to do it. Like, if it was happening right now, I don't know if I would do that again. But yeah, I just went for it. I just absolutely went for it. It was yeah, I'm glad I did, man. I had so much fun, and it was just shooting that scene was probably one of the most fun experiences I've had shooting anything, and it was just yeah, just so enjoyable. It was so the whole thing just kind of completely improvised, and every time we changed it, and we just kept evolving and rolling with the punches, and it was just so much fun, so free.
Very cool. It was intense. I've watched this like a dozen times now, and every time that opening scene,
I think
I
Tim
get
put it
a
best.
little on edge.
We were, I think it wasn't initially going to be like a cold opening, but I think we realised if we put the audience through a kind of really dark, tense moment that earlier, then the song would be like a spoonful of sugar after the.
Yeah, it's that first scene is very uncomfortable. It's really unsettling, and you know, it's violent in a very disturbing way without it being without being graphically violent. It's almost more so than if it was like a beating or something on film or a shooting. It's very unsettling.
Yeah, that's what I was aiming for, man. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
you
Yeah,
did. You certainly did.
glad to meet you.
That's what I was going to ask. That's what you were planning? Will we be expecting some more material from Pricey Films in the near future?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, watch your space. Yeah, more stuff coming, definitely.
That's
Definitely.
awesome. I love to hear it. Well, fantastic. We're going to move into the Q&A portion, the Q&A segment of the show. So let's welcome back Elijah Amitin and Olmo Tighe to the screen. Thanks, everyone. I know you've seen the video already, but what is your reaction, Olmo and Elijah, to the video?
Oh, I love it. The first cut I saw, I saw like early in the morning at like 7 a.m. And I was like, this is I had no idea what was happening. And then when I heard Michael's voice start with all those characters, and then it like somehow it brought out emotions in his voice that I hadn't heard before. It was great.
Yeah.
McCarty, he's amazing. Brian McCarty in there. I couldn't believe it.
James, what gave you the idea for the fireworks? I love those. And they feel like a real kind of catalyst.
Genuinely.
Part of the moment.
No, so Ryan had those fireworks on him the whole shoot. Ryan wanted to do two things the entire shoot. He wanted to spray paint a wall or let off fireworks. And me and the DOP were kind of like just placating him, saying, we'll do it at the end, And then at the end, we actually did let off the fireworks. And I'm glad we did, because we're trying to talk him out of it the whole time. And I'm really glad we did.
There's something really poetic about just the title, Diamonds into Dust, and then these fireworks, it really resonates.
No, definitely.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I've just needed that moment of celebration, and yeah, no, I'm really proud that we got it in there. And it was
great.
It
It looks
was
amazing.
the last thing, the very last thing we shot. So it was a nice little button on the whole experience.
And I also wanted to know, your choice of color is so cool. Like the way everything is tinted, that kind of, I mean, I'm a bit colorblind anyway, but I think it's like kind of like a dark kind of greenish, bluish hue, right?
Yeah, that's a lot. That's down to Alan McLaughlin, DOP. We had a really specific kind of look in mind, and well, I sent him a bunch of movies. Me and Joss, we kind of kept sending him movies, and as soon as he showed up, he knew what we were going for right away, and it kind of just matched the look we were going for 100%.
I do have a few great questions that are coming in from the Q&A. Looks like Darren asked, James, what was the most challenging thing about making this film?
Yeah, good question. Do you know? I must admit, it was a lot of fun. Just because of during when it was shot, during the thing, there was a lot of. Yeah, I don't want to say it. I don't want to bring it up. We've not mentioned it once so far, and it's been pretty good. But just because during the pandemic, it's been it was just hard just to get everybody all in one room and kind of shoot around it and follow all the rules. So that was the most challenging part. But we used a lot of camera trickery, and we kind of got there in the end, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, but I must admit, like even all the challenges we solved pretty quickly, and it was a really enjoyable ride.
James, how long have you been making films? This is a question from Keith in the audience.
Good question. I made my first proper short film in 2014, and also I wrote a short film back then which starred Brian McCarthy in it. That's how me and him met. And yeah, so I made some bad movies. I made some movies on iPhones with friends and from the town where I come from that are pretty rough, which you'll never get to see. But yeah, but doing it well. I've been doing it well for about 6 years.
Did you look at this specifically as making a music video or as making a short film?
I said, well, it's interesting. You know, I think I took a lot of inspiration from music videos I love, and I feel like a lot of the time they feel like short films. You know, the good ones really do feel like their own little pieces. And yeah, I wanted it to feel cinematic. You know, I mean, I wanted it to feel quite big, and you know, it's Michael Imperioli's lead singer, and I wanted to have a certain type of magic to it that I was aiming for.
Mm-hmm.
So, but quick answer, probably a bit of both, 50-50.
We got a question, Zopa. When will you be playing live next? Michael, you mentioned that. What was the date and location again on that?
August 14th at the Mercury Lounge in New York. And then the only other one we have on the books now, because the book, you know, they're just starting to book again, you know, is it's November, I think the 13th in Seattle. I'm not sure the venue, but it's a festival called the Freak Out Festival in Seattle.
All right. Thank you very much. Another question for James from Hannah. How did you make something for a hero without freaking out?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Hannah, I think I know who Hannah is, and I think I'm still freaking out. I was freaking out the entire time. Freaking out right now. Yeah. I'm
actually at the hospital.
Yeah, yeah. We're in the ward right now. So yeah, this is all just a masquerade.
This next question is for the band. Do you see yourselves, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot here, but do you see yourselves doing another video with James potentially in the future?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more of a question for James than it is for the band.
Oh man, yeah. Let's do a trilogy, guys. We're in 100%, man. No, thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sure. That's you know, this. Yeah, the short answer is yes, right? I would say.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Yeah. I'll give you some time to recover from this one. I won't hit you up right away. I'll DM you in a few months.
All right.
Another question from Andy. How can we get Zopa booked to perform in Glasgow?
Yeah, good question. Good question, Andy.
That's a good question. You know, we have to, you know, I don't know. You can let us know a venue, or I don't know, a booker.
Tim might know a venue. Tim might be the guy. Tim might be able to help us out with that.
Yeah. All right. We'll figure something out. That should
Yeah.
be. That would be really fun.
Definitely.
That would be really fun.
Love to have you.
A question from Brian. This is for James. At what point during the making of this did you shit yourself the most,
Oh, good question.
think you messed it up?
I think it was probably after we'd shot everything and we'd like got like I knew that. Yeah, I think probably just when I first sent it to you guys, I was like, oh my god, they're going to hate it. This is it. I'm not going to hear anything back. Made this really self-indulgent, crazily Scottish music video. They're going to despise it. Yeah, probably right after I made it. During it, I was caught. I was like, "This is great," and then like, afterwards, I was like, "Oh my god, what have I done?"
Yeah. But that happens a lot with creative things, you know, when you know, you're into it and you do it, but then you have no idea how it's going to be received, and you can't never predict that. But and there's a vulnerability, right, into releasing it into the world, right?
No, 100%, definitely, yeah.
Michael, this is a question for you from Kelly. Were you at all apprehensive having the video set and shot in Scotland rather than something closer to home?
No, I mean, the only apprehension was I didn't know James. You know, it was somebody that I have never met in a different country decided to make our first music video, which is, like I said, it's the fact that this happened the way it does. It does now. Different countries and people kind of creating and together. I never really did that before. But after we communicated a bunch of times, you get a bit of a sense of somebody and their intentions. And, sometimes you just have to take a look. When I met Olmo, he was 8, right? I was 25. And then I was 40 putting a band together. He's 23 or something. And for some reason, I have to have him play the drum. I don't know why. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to trust that kind of instinct that just says, take a chance, I don't know. I don't know what else to say, but it's the setting didn't, I had no apprehension about the setting. It was just like, all right, well, who is this guy? Let's find out.
I have another question for Keith. James, did you and your team document with video or pictures while making the album or while making the video, like a making of?
That's actually one of my main regrets. We didn't do that. It was so kind of flying by the seat of our pants that we just kind of went for it, and it was just pretty full on. Is that not right? How you say it? We just went for it, and no, we didn't. But we'll do that on the second one. But no, that was one thing we didn't do. We didn't document enough. Got some little bits and bobs, some little bits here and there, but not enough.
Sure. For the band, did you document the making of your album with any video or pictures?
I don't think so.
No.
Oh,
We forgot that.
I don't think it would have been that exciting, to be honest.
You say that now, but
it's just kind of us, I mean, the record is the exciting thing, the music, but I don't know. I mean,
I don't think we took a single picture.
The other thing is, in an environment like that, it's one thing with James, they're making a film, so you're going to have a camera around, right? In an environment like you're making a record, once you put a camera in there, all of a sudden there's this other awareness that's there that I don't know if is necessary or productive per se.
Yeah.
Become aware of what you're doing and how you're communicating because there's a camera and people are going to see it rather than just you're making a record.
For sure.
That makes sense.
It's nerve-wracking enough, you don't.
Yeah.
Well, we did the live stream. We pre-recorded at Bowery Electric, and there were cameras, and that was kind of a new thing for us too, in a way, right? I mean, you were saying, Elijah, it was a little strange.
Well, yeah, I mean, without an audience, but just like a couple cameramen, strange. it's a strange way to get back into performing
Right.
after, you know, so long.
Did
Yeah.
you feel like your
It's-
energy on stage during that performance is different, like a crazy amount of different versus when you actually perform in front of a live audience?
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You kind of have to imagine the live audience to like get into it, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, there's nothing, you know, like whether it's theater or music, you know, that I always say you never perform the song until you do it in front of people. It's all rehearsal until you're actually performing it in front of people, because it's always very different depending on what energy they're bringing as a group and as a bunch of individuals. It affects you, and it goes back and forth, and it's always different. It can be horrendous and it can be ecstatic, you know. You never know.
We have a cool question from Parisa. You all have similar, and this is for the band, you all have similar interests in New York rock and roll, but how do you all differ the most in your musical taste?
I mean, I listen to a lot of blues, a lot of old stuff. I have problem like staying hip and staying in touch with new music. So that probably is where I'm coming from. I don't know.
You also know a lot of rap and hip hop and stuff like that too.
Yeah. I used to listen to a lot of that.
Yeah,
For sure. Yeah.
much more than
Yeah.
I do.
I don't know. Well, Michael really put me on to a lot of the like alternative stuff, you know, 90s, 80s. And actually he put me on to Lou Reed, which I was, you know, I didn't grow up with, you know. So that was really cool. And Olmo put me on to like everything when we were like 12.
Really? I didn't know that. Olmo was your big
Yeah.
influence, huh?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, this is Shuggy Otis, and like we just sit in his parents' place and he'd play it and all kinds of stuff. I guess I kind of, as a bass player, I tend to focus a lot on just kind of classic funk stuff, which the other guys, you know, listen to too. But I probably, it's probably like the thing I'm more conscious of, just as a bass player. You know, you're thinking about the groove and stuff. So like P-Funk and, you know, Ohio Players and all that stuff. But yeah, it's never been difficult to kind of find common ground. I think we all kind of know where we're trying to head when a song appears. It kind of feels like there's a path for it, and there's very little discussion about it.
Yeah, the last couple practices have been good. I feel like we're better, even though we haven't played in a while. We're coming from a better place, maybe individually too. So, just like health wise, it seems like it's going good. And there's more to do for sure.
I agree. And you know, like you said, there's not a lot of. I think we've discussed more today than we ever have in the past about with together, like with each other, about music.
We don't talk about it.
No, we just
start playing.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That's how exclusive this event really is.
Yeah. No,
it's exclusive to us, right?
It's not. It's kind of true, actually, but that's the beauty of it, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's very organic.
Yeah.
Sure. And Zopa, how do your songs evolve once you start playing them live, right? Like you start getting back into the live scene, you start playing these songs again. When we see you live, is it going to sound exactly like it's on the record, or have you already started working on changes to songs that you've already recorded? What's that evolution process like?
That's a good question. I don't think it should sound like the record, you know. I think it should sound specific to that moment in time, because that's how it's most organic, you know. And we recorded the album a while ago, so you know, we're not the same human beings, like even on a molecular level. So voice sounds a little different, or you're inspired to like, you know, play the notes in a different sequence, or the rhythm a little bit faster or slower, or busier or quieter. So, you know, you want to be close to it, but it still has to be in the moment, I guess.
I've gotten a lot of questions regarding James's jacket. James, where did you get your jacket?
Where'd I get it?
Yeah.
Where did I get it? I think it's probably River Island. I think it's a River Island jacket, which is a UK store. Yeah. So yeah.
There you
Is
go.
it good or bad though, man? Is it, they asking because they want to avoid it?
No, I think
right.
I think many people, 3 different people in the Q&A so far have asked like where can I get a jacket like that? So there you go. Take that as a compliment.
Can I ask Elijah and Olmo that question they asked? We were just asked about how things sound live now. I'm curious because we don't talk about these things that much. So now that we are,
like the approach to translating it.
yeah, should it sound like the album or not?
No, I mean, I agree with you. It's like, well, you can't make it sound like the album.
No.
And if you've ever seen a band and they sound exactly like the album, then sometimes it feels a little boring, right? So, no, you want things to be spontaneous. And I don't think we could even, play the same thing twice. I don't play the same thing twice usually.
So you look for new things, and Olmo, you do too, right? Like
Yeah,
new little touches and.
Yeah.
No set way, no rules.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to recreate some of those moments on the album too, like with the horns or certain keyboard stuff.
Right. You did all the keyboards though.
It was me and Chris St. Hilaire, who's a really amazing musician.
Chris St.
Hilaire of the London Souls.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he played the Hammond organ. I played the Whirly.
You played the Whirly. Yeah.
I played the Whirly. Yeah. He was great. I'm gonna try to get in touch with him actually. Maybe he could join us for something.
Yeah.
You mentioned the horns, Elijah. Like that's one of my favorite parts of the album is whenever horns would come in. How or are you going to recreate that in any way during a live show? Is that something that you can do?
I don't know. I think that just depends on maybe who we meet and who's who we can vibe with, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's always kind of tricky to bring people in and learn the material and all that.
Sure.
But yeah, that would be cool.
I have a cool question from Max. It's a question for James. There's some great bands who have come out of the Glasgow. Who are the bands that have inspired you?
A good question. Right now I'm obsessed with a Scottish musician called Frankie Miller, and a very bluesy kind of soulful voice. And he was amazing. Actually, he acted in a movie called Just a Boys Game, which is a classic kind of Glasgow gangland movie. But he's like, I'd love to make a movie about him one day. Like he's an absolute legend and just a very cool character, a very heartbreaking but beautiful story. And he's one that I'm definitely kind of obsessed with, and one that I kind of look up to a lot.
Well, we're coming to the end of our show. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Yeah,
pleasure.
Thank
James,
you,
you did an incredible job. You really did.
Thank you, man.
Great job.
You, man. That's amazing. Thank you so much. This has been unbelievable.
Thank
And
you.
Zopa, the album is great. We all love
Thank
it.
you.
That's why we've got so many people that joined and participated in this release.
Yes.
And thank you. There it is. Thank you all so much for joining us today, wherever you are in the world, dialing in.
Thank you, Nick. Great job.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Michael. It's always a pleasure working with you, and I hope we get to do it again, maybe 6-9 months from now. We'll have another one.
Sounds good.
Hopefully.
Our virtual stage manager is going to share some information with you via the screen, but thank you all so much for joining us. If we didn't get to your questions, feel free to send them via email to solidagoproductions@gmail.com. So go ahead and check out Zopa's digital album. You can buy it on Bandcamp or listen to it there. Visit zopa.bandcamp.com. You can also pre-order their vinyl/t-shirt combos, which I already did, from Mount Crushmore Records. So go to mountcrushmorerecords.com to do that. This premiere today, we have recorded it, and it will be available to watch again soon on YouTube and at solidagoproductions.com. Also, follow James Price on Instagram at PriceyFilms and visit his website, priceyfilms.com. For updates on Zopa, go ahead and follow at Real Michael Imperioli at Elijah Amitin, and at Solidago Productions. I've been your host, Nick Solidio. Thank you so much for joining us. Special shout out to our virtual stage manager, Sam, who's been here the whole time backstage behind that virtual curtain.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Sam. Wherever you are in the world, stay safe, stay healthy, stay engaged. Thank you, everyone.